tragic death of a 3-year-old Paisley Brown. Officials say Jerome Jarrell Coombs admitted to binding Paisley's hands with rope and her legs with tape. Family and friends gathered in Ocala today in Paisley's honor, demanding justice for the 3-year-old child. TV 20's Ana Alvarez was there and spoke with family who are mourning this senseless tragedy.
It's a tragedy that has brought the community together. A little girl who has lost her life in what organizers and even the child's father has said was a completely avoidable incident.
I didn't know who it was. I didn't know which one. It didn't really matter who it was. I just knew one of them had gone.
3-year-old Paisley Brown died on Thursday after being abused inside her Citra home, according to Marion County Sheriff's deputies. Her mother's boyfriend, 32-year-old Jerome Jarrell Coombs, was arrested and charged with aggravated child abuse. During a protest in Ocala, Paisley's father, Robert Brown, proclaimed his daughter's death should never have happened.
Paisley, she's amazing. She's a loving person. She's happy. She's always happy. She's goofy. She's an amazing little kid.
Brown says he's been working to better himself after losing custody of his children when he received a child abuse charge. Many in the community are outraged, demanding accountability beyond Coombs' arrest, calling for Paisley's mother to face charges as well.
I do not have the power to tell somebody whether they're guilty or not. I am not a lawyer. I'm not a police officer. I respect our law enforcement. I've seen countless situations where Marion County has prolonged arrests for months, for even years. I don't think somebody should be walking free. Not at least without being taken in, questioned, and then determined by a police officer, okay, you're not leaving. You're responsible for this.
Coombs admitted to binding Paisley's hands with rope and her legs with tape, dropping her and hitting her multiple times. He reportedly told investigators he took it too far and was too scared to call 911. They say he waited 40 minutes to call for help. The other 4 children in the home have been placed in DCF custody as detectives investigate whether there was prior signs of abuse and what the mother may have known. In Ocala, I'm Ana Alvarez, TV 20.
Jerome Coombs, count your days. Count your motherfucking me days, sir. 3 years old? You done sent a 3-year-old off to glory? You sent Paisley Brown off to glory, sir? A 3-year-old. Make sure y'all put him underneath and save me a spot in line because I'm on my way. So on Thursday in Citra, someplace in doggone Florida, this doggone fool was watching people's children. They haven't said how many children. Nobody should have been in his care. The kids were between the age range of 1 and 9 years old. It was multiple children. Around 11 a.m., they get a phone call for an unresponsive child. When they get to this 3-year-old Paisley, she's in terrible condition. She succumbs to her injury. He later confesses to his behavior, and this is your trigger warning now. If you cannot handle it, exit, please. They said she has bruises on her chest, her private areas, and it looked like her wrists were tied together. He used a robe tie for her hands, and he used duct tape for her ankles. He said that he did that so that she wouldn't touch her diaper while she was sleeping in the middle of the night. What? She's 3! You should have had her potty trained by now. He says conveniently while she was bound that he dropped her. You dropped the 3-year-old after you bound her and she should have never been bound? Then he said he beat her and he realized it went a little too far. And when he realized it went a little too far, he decided to call her mama. Instead of calling 911, he waited 40 minutes to call 911 talking about I was scared. You should absolutely positively be scared until the last breath finds you, sir. The last one, you should be scared. Because a 3-year-old in no way, shape, or form deserved not a single thing that you did to her. You should have never been allowed to be around her. And they talking about we don't know if we're pressing charges against the mama. You better charge her because the children said this has been a long-standing issue with the abuse and specifically to Paisley. So what Paisley done did to him, who knows? But he got a vendetta against Paisley because the other kids said he's done stuff to Paisley. What? Y'all better arrest the mama. And this is the kicker. He done wrote a doggone letter apologizing for taking Paisley's life. Sir, write a goodbye letter now because that's it. It's over with for you. He's currently being held without bond and he's been charged with aggravated child abuse. But go ahead and again, save me a position in line because this is the bottom of the barrel. Jerome, never again. You better not ever see daylight. that you took this little girl out of here at 3 years old.
This was 3-year-old Paisley Brown. She had her life stolen from her by a monster down in Florida. Now, this is the monster who did it. I'm going to call him Monster. I'm not going to call him by his name, but that's his name right there. And that's her mother, Jennifer Kendrick. And I'm going to say this. You can't tell me that the mother did not know what was going on. So right now, they just have him locked up under aggravated child abuse, but they did say additional charges are forthcoming. Now, when deputies arrived at a home on Northeast 44th Avenue down there in Citra at around noon yesterday, they found Paisley Brown unresponsive. She was taken to the hospital where she later passed away. So according to reports, the investigators say that Combs, which is Paisley's mother's boyfriend, he was home alone with multiple children on yesterday, Thursday morning. And a child witness told investigators that he heard Combs strike Paisley. Now, he didn't call 911 immediately. Not at all. He waited till around 11 a.m. when he told her mother, and then that's when the 911 call was made. 40 minutes. Now, at first, the monster got up here and initially told the investigators that she woke up groggy. That's when the detectives confronted him about all the bruising and the bind marks and all that stuff on her, all over her body. Then that's when he admitted to causing her to be deceased. Now, right here is where the hole punchers need to be in effect. So he told investigators that he bound her hands with a rope and he tied up her legs with tape. And then he claimed that he dropped her on the floor and admitting to laying hands on her multiple times. Then he admitted that he took it too far and that he was too scared to call 911. Now, the auntie made it over there before EMS got there, and she attempted CPR on Paisley. Now, the aunt also said that at nighttime, he would tie the children up, he would use tape and rope, and he would also use handcuffs at night. Now, here's the timeline. Around 9:15 a.m., the child's mother left the home to go to the DMV and then to a nail appointment. She said the children were all sleeping. I don't believe her. Then at around 10:29 a.m., the mother spoke to Combs on the phone and said that she should hear Paisley's voice. At 10:49, she sent a photo of her nails. At 10:58, she video chatted with him, and she said she saw Paisley pale and limp. That's when she finished up her nail appointment and headed home. The milk stinks. The water stinks. At 11:38, that's when 911 was called. These are my thoughts. The mother needs to be arrested also. Because if the other 4 children that lived in that house were going through that whole house of horrors, going through that whole ordeal of being tied up at night, handcuffed and all that stuff, and she was there, she knew about it, she needs to be locked up also. And my other thought is, what if the baby was already deceased? Then she left to try to create a timeline for herself. Allegedly. Either way, you hurt a child, you need to be under the jail where the rebar is, never seeing the light of day again. Stuff like this, when you hurt a child, it makes me want to create a company called Hole Punchers R Us with guaranteed results. I'll bring you more as soon as I find out more.
32-year-old Jerron Jarrell Coombs was babysitting Paisley Brown and 4 other children ages 1 to 9 on Thursday, February 19th in their trailer home in Citra, Florida. Jerron did not call the police. He called his girlfriend instead at 10:58 a.m. and told her that Paisley was unresponsive. 40 minutes have passed since then. Paisley's mother came home. So she came home around 11 o'clock and she yelled, "My baby is gone," as she saw Paisley slumped in her high chair. The great aunt Tabitha owns the trailer that Paisley lives in. So the great aunt came home and found Jerome standing there with his arms crossed doing nothing. She said no one seemed to be panicked over this. While Tabitha was performing CPR on Paisley, she was wondering why Paisley was wet and where these bruises had came from. By 12 p.m., the mother of Paisley calls the police, and Paisley is rushed to the hospital where she, succumbs to her injuries. One child said that Jerome struck Paisley and exposed prior physical abuse to the police. Another child named Santana said that he was handcuffed to a bed when he heard Jerome beating Paisley through the wall. So by this time that this was happening to Paisley, her mother and Jerome had been dating for about 4 months. When the police confronted Jerome about the ligature marks and the bruises on Paisley, he admitted that he bound her hands with a rope tie and tied her legs with painter's tape to prevent her from tugging on her diaper. Well, why didn't you just change her diaper then? The night before, Jerome said that he picked up Paisley while she was bound and dropped her on the floor and punched her multiple times. This is what Santana had heard, causing her to gasp for air. Jerome admitted that he took it way too far. He said it went too far. The other children went into custody with the state of Florida. Paisley's father, Robert Brown, said that his daughter's death was preventable. At a rally that was held on Saturday in protest to hold the mother accountable for Paisley's death, the mother is being investigated by the police on why she waited 40 minutes to call 911. She is not being charged for Paisley's death. Jerome was charged with aggravated child abuse. He is being held at Marin County Jail. Update. On Friday, February 20th, Jerome made his first court appearance. He was charged with aggravated child abuse and has no bond. On Wednesday, February 25th, he appears in court for a pre-trial hearing, and they're pushing for murder charges. I hope he gets them, and I hope he gets life, because this is disgusting that you would hurt a 3-year-old child for no apparent reason. But hell, what do I know? I'm just a talking head.
Ooh, child, this Ocala man unalived his girlfriend's daughter. He tied her up, her hands and her feet. They said that he took her and then he slammed her on the floor. He waited 40 minutes before he called the police, and then when he called the police, he said he was too scared because he know he took it too far. The baby was 3 years old. Little small little baby, little 3-year-old petite. She looked cute as hell, little girl, that he did that shit too. I feel like he was jealous, and the mammy ain't shit because she allowed it. The 2-year-old girl name is Paisley Brown. Now, I think Paisley was neglected by the mama, the daddy, the stepdaddy. Now, Jerrion Combs was dating Jennifer Kendrick. That's the child. That's Paisley's mama. And the mama left that man at home with her daughter. I think he had some of his kids and some of her kids, but they said it was like a total of like 5 or 6 kids in that house that day that he was left there to babysit. Now from what I know is he got a little mixed little boy. That's his. That I don't think he had him by her. That's what I've gathered. And she already lost her oldest son to the baby daddy because, again, she is a neglectful mama. She one of them, one of them. And Paisley daddy, who talking about he was trying to get custody of his children, he wasn't able to get them because he got a whole child case on his ass too. I don't know which child but he got one too. And he over here talking about justice. He was just as bad as the daggone stepdaddy and the mammy. Now the stepdaddy, Jerrion Combs, he even admitted to tying the little girls with the little robe, the robe tie. He took the robe tie and tied her hands and her feet. Then he took some tape and put that shit around it to make sure, because according to other people, they said that she kept getting out. Then the other children said that she kept getting out of the rope and the tie, so that's why he put a little tape on it that time. He said he did it because she stuck her hand in her pamper, and that upset him, and that's why he did that. And then he took her and he put hands to her, and then they said he picked her up in the air, let her go, or he took her and threw her on the ground. That was the type of injuries that she sustained. And he called the mama, he called everybody else other than the police. The police said it took them 40 minutes before anybody actually called the laws and the ambulance them to come out there and help that little girl. That's why I said the mammy is responsible too. And ain't no way in hell you didn't know that man was putting his hands on your child. Because that wasn't the first time. That wasn't the first time. If he felt that comfortable to do it then, he done did it plenty more times before. Keep y'all updated with this one. Because them children need help. And I hope they don't give it to the daddy. To my son, he have rehabilitated himself. He didn't do shit. Once an abuser person, there's always an abuser person. So them kids need to go to a family member that actually love them and will take care of them. Or put them with the ward of the state. Because them people are, they neglectful, they abusive. Hell out of here.
On February 19th, 2026, 3-year-old Paisley Brown was found unresponsive inside a residence in Citra, Florida after what law enforcement described as suffering severe and prolonged abuse. Deputies with the Marion County Sheriff's Office reportedly responded to a residence on Northeast 44th Avenue after reports that a child was unresponsive. Paisley was quickly transported to a nearby hospital where she later died from her injuries. Investigators ended up arresting 32-year-old Jerome Coombs, who is reportedly the boyfriend of Paisley's mother, and he was also acting as a caretaker for Paisley. He was charged with 1 count of aggravated child abuse and remains jailed without bond as detectives work with the state attorney's office to pursue additional charges pending her official COD and MOD. According to the sheriff's office, Coombs was alone in the home with several children, including Paisley, while Paisley's mother was out earlier that morning. Deputies were initially told that he informed the child's mother that Paisley was unresponsive, but neither he nor her mother called 911 until approximately 40 minutes after learning that she was injured. This was a delay that law enforcement said was unacceptable during a medical emergency. They also saw bruising and marks on Paisley's body, and when he was asked what those were from, he responded back that he, quote, took it too far. Detectives say that one of the other children in the home during this specific incident said that they heard Coombs striking Paisley, and evidence on her body did showcase not only bruising but possible ligature marks. According to this child and other children in the residence, Coombs bound Paisley's hands with a robe tie and her legs with painter's tape, saying that he did this to punish her for reaching into her diaper. He then dropped her while she was still bound and struck her multiple times. When Jerome was asked about this, he admitted that this happened, and he said that he was initially scared to call authorities and emergency services because he didn't want to get in trouble. The case has drawn up scrutiny toward Paisley's mother, who remains under investigation by detectives to determine whether she knew about the abuse or failed to report it. Deputies have said that the children in the household reported incidents of being hit or even handcuffed for punishment, suggesting that abusive behavior was not isolated to this one incident and was not isolated to just being inflicted upon them by this man right here. Under Florida law, aggravated child abuse, especially when it results in a child's death, is a first-degree felony that can carry decades in prison or even life sentences, and prosecutors are considering appropriate charges and penalties as the case proceeds forward. He likely is going to be getting additional charges too pertaining to murder. But again, that is pending the medical examiner's findings. Supporters and family members have described Paisley as a fun-loving, energetic little girl with a big smile, and she will be missed by her loved ones deeply, they say. Do you guys think that warning signs were there with this guy and were ignored by Paisley's mother? Do you think that she partook in the abuse against Paisley and the other children? And do you think that charges should be filed against Paisley's mother? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments, and I'll talk to you later.
She gonna get on dead and all.